to today's Public Safety and Emergency Services Committee for Thursday, July 22nd. And we'll start the meeting with a pledge to the flag, please. Thank you. Now we'll go on to roll call, please.
Stiganga. Here. Vero.
Here.
Fagione.
Here.
Sierra. Sassy. Lujan.
Present.
Hines.
Here. Thank you very much. I'm just going to remind everybody that the microphones are far away from you, so please speak into the mic when it's your turn to talk. And first on the agenda, I see Deputy Commissioner Cherry is with us. If you'll approach the microphone and turn it on. First up is request to accept and appropriate federal funds from the State of New York Governor's Traffic Safety Committee for the 2022 Traffic Safety Program Grant, $65,870. I have a motion, please.
So moved.
Lujan and Stiganga. The floor is yours, Commissioner.
How's that?
Now you're on.
Red is on. That's weird. You think red would be off? Okay, anyway, good afternoon. This grant here from the Governor's Traffic Safety Committee, the application this year, we're going to be using the funding for specifically $55,000 is dedicated for hiring consultant educators through the Alcohol and Drug Abuse Council of Orange County. And the remainder is to be used for initiatives such as bike helmets, information, education, and whatever printing needs we need to put out for information for traffic safety. It's pretty straightforward grant.
Thank you. Is this in line with what we got last year, or is up, down,
This
or
is
what?
just about to the dollar what we got last year, correct? Yep.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have any questions for the Deputy Commissioner? Okay, seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? So carried, unanimous. Thank you very much. Next up, we have the Sheriff's Office, and we'll start with the Corrections Report. Motion for discussion, please. Lujan and Vero. And I see Captain Catletti is with us and Under Sheriff Jones. Oh, and we actually have Kurt O'Mealy today.
I am here. Hello.
The floor is yours, sir. I know the sheriff's here, but he never does the corrections report.
Somebody might have thought up there I was on vacation or something.
Go ahead, Colonel. You want to highlight it for us?
Sure. Hello, everybody. As of this morning, our facility head count was 387. Of that 387, 92 are ICE detainees.
Is your microphone on?
Oh, can you hear me now? Okay, sorry about that. As of this morning, our facility head count was 387. Of that 387, 92 are ICE detainees, 59 are marshal boarders. Our total revenue to date so far is $4,175,309. Now, just one thing I'd like to talk about, if that's okay, is about the jail's manpower shortage, the situation with staffing.
Sure.
We're down 25 bodies, actually from today, 26. During this pandemic, staff has been coming to work and they've performed incredibly, but they're tired and they're burnt out. There's a lot of overtime. Just to put this in perspective, on the 13th pay period, there's 26 pay periods in a year, we are at our number allotted for the year in overtime alone, just to say how much the staff is working. Excuse me. So we really need to get up to speed with our minimum staffing here and give these people some relief. They're really burnt out. They need it. Not to mention, we have a lot of stuff that's coming up, which I know the undersheriff touched on briefly, which was the HALT Act. That's going to require us to get roughly 40 hours of training for everybody working in that facility before its inception, April of next year, in addition to everything else that's going on. So it's tough as it is right now, and just to stay in compliance. And basically what we have here is it's a safety and health issue right now. We're just asking you to give us the bodies that we need here.
Okay, so the legislature has those positions created, I presume, so I think your comments are directed toward the deputy county executive sitting in the back of the room for approvals to fill these spots, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and if you were to hire someone tomorrow, how long would it take to actually sit in a position of staffing where they would be counted towards the actual manpower?
Here's the problem with that. It's a substantial amount of time. So say today, if I get approval to hire just one person, in order to canvass, do the medical and a background, that's going to take roughly 60 days to do. So roughly 8 weeks. The academy itself is 14 weeks long. So you're talking roughly 22 weeks before that one person can make a difference.
Okay. Did you put in a request for people and that was denied, or is this something that just went by?
Been pending.
I'm sorry?
Yes, it's been pending for a while. We've been asking for a while, and yes, we have put in for it.
Okay. Anybody have any questions on this item? Chairman?
Yeah, Chairman, we spoke about this at the roundtable yesterday, and the county executive was in concurrence to hire 15, I believe, and we mentioned it really should be 25, because that's a minimum staffing. I guess whether it's docks or corrections commission is 259 total. So the positions are funded, and I believe he's going to, Harry, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe he's going to create these, fill these positions. So maybe you should give clarity, because, I pledged my support for it, and I'm always concerned about overtime, and I know, with the whole situation over the last year, we've cut back quite a bit, but definitely this is a serious situation.
Can you turn the mic on, please?
You'll be sorry about that. We are completely supportive of hiring new positions. I think it was 2 weeks ago, there was a request for 15 or 18, and we approved those. And then you went through your list, and some were ineligible, some didn't want the job. But anything that was authorized, we've allowed to go forward. I know it takes time, but there's far more complex issues regarding the hiring of correctional officers that we're going to explore with you. Matter of fact, we're meeting on Tuesday at 11 o'clock. And it has to do with the requirements that we have for correctional officers, the fact that we have physical challenges that are not required in other departments. It denies us the ability to have laterals for, let's say, from Ulster or Sullivan. So we're also looking at what you require in terms of physicals for correctional officers. And we'll go through all of that on Tuesday when we meet. But we are totally supportive of giving the department whatever it needs to function properly.
Chairman. also.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I just want to say that, this is not only just a safety issue, it's a morale issue, it's a legal issue, and it's definitely a potential lawsuit issue. So, and the county executive also talked about, I guess, some of the agility tests were eased a little bit. They were higher testing measures for the agility test that could be eased a little bit. And also we talked about transfers. Orange County pays higher than most counties or in the Hudson Valley, I believe.
Well, the problem, again, is what I was saying about the physicals. If you're in Ulster County, again, I'm not an expert in corrections in these counties, but I'm told that in Ulster County and in Sullivan County and counties like that, it's impossible for us to have laterals back into Orange County, even though we pay more, because our requirements getting into position are higher than the other counties. My understanding, and maybe this is premature, is that we're going to reconsider all of those standards, physical standards that we required before, and roll them back so that there's more people eligible for the jobs. That's part of our discussion for Tuesday.
Thank you. I'm glad we concur on this. I've spoken to Armand Delapia probably 4 times since yesterday, and I know they're very concerned, and he's getting the brunt of it. So,
Yes, I'm aware of that as
is
well.
that Armand back there?
Yeah, he's right here.
I don't know if you want to have him say a few words or not, but he gave me the full, and with the concurrence of the sheriff's office. So,
Population has changed too recently. There's more people there now than you had before. And so we understand that as well.
Okay, Undersheriff?
Well, the basic requirements for the job has very little to do with vacancies. We need 25 vacancies, 15 were approved. So how you hire people and what standards you have, we're not necessarily advocates for lowering standards for initial hiring when we've spent a long time hiring standards, making standards higher and higher to get a better workforce. But that's really a specious argument related to vacancies. vacancies, some of these have been in as long as 2 years. And it really stems from the governor, who had assured county legislators and people around the county that their costs would be reduced due to bail reformation, and that there would be a much lower inmate population in the jails. Although that's true to some degree, that the populations have declined, simultaneously, they increase classifications. Now, we've asked for variances, which means what a variance is to combine one or more classification inside your jail to allow cross-population. We were denied, and virtually all of our ponds are open. And they replied to us that our problem is self-inflicted because we choose to have borders. If we got rid of our borders, we wouldn't have the problem. That's what we got from Commission on Corrections. But I don't want the legislature to be confused that this is somehow about what sort of hiring standard we have. It is not. It's a matter of getting vacancies approved.
Thank you. Colonel, anything else?
Just want to add one more thing. The hiring requests weren't just put in a couple of weeks ago. They have been in for quite a while. We just received confirmation to hire 15, but those requests have been in for quite a while.
Okay, thank you. Legislator Stiganga?
In the event that we allow transfer-ins, does that change the timeline for when they would actually be able to start working? Because most of them would already have been on the job and had done the training. Do they still have to require the 14 weeks of training for them if they've already been on the job, even in one of the local counties?
No, it would probably cut down, I don't have the exact number, but you're probably talking about 5 or 6 weeks of training as opposed to full 14.
So it would be a benefit for us to look in that direction so you can get them on and working quicker?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else have any questions for the Colonel or? Okay, so it sounds like we're moving in the right direction with the Executive's office, and we'll stay on top of this next month. Sheriff, you have a comment?
Yeah, just be aware of the overtime issue. I want to document that with the legislature. You know, I don't want anybody yelling at me at the end of the year saying your overtime's up. You know, we're telling you, we've told you before. I'm just letting you know, and I'm documenting it now, okay? Thank you.
Yeah, and I see the revenue's not going to hit the budgetary mark either, I see, so it's going to be a double-edged sword.
We're lucky we went after the Marshal Service. Marshal Service is up there quite a bit. But yeah, and you know, and that's something else we've said over the years for the last, how many years have we had borders? The last 15 years, that it could end tomorrow. If it was up to the state, it would. We're lucky.
I agree. Thank you. Okay, I think we're good with the corrections report then, unless anybody has any other questions or comments. So we'll move on to the sheriff's report, please. Motion to discuss the sheriff's report. Mr. Fagione and Mr. Lujan, you want to highlight that for us, Under Sheriff?
Well, on the sheriff's report, it's a sort of an average month. Everything is up and running. You're going to see, as you can see from reviewing the report, a lot more activity than there was just a few months ago. Because just like every other part of society, the courts are not completely online yet, so that you know, local criminal courts, et cetera. But they are firing up. We expect them to be fully operational soon, and that will increase our activity as well. And there's also been a significant jump in public events. You know, the racetrack in Middletown is now having outdoor concerts, which they haven't done in, it's got to be about 15 years ago that they had their last concert of that nature with some major name stars. So that requires commitment of manpower from us and the state police. And I know they're planning a 3-day music festival in Way Yonder somewhere. Tunnels to Towers is the sponsor. And so we anticipate higher than usual activities during the summer that will require deputy sheriff presence. Pistol permits continues to be just overwhelming and no end in sight. We are now back, even though we put 2 more bodies in that room, we're maxed out in our capabilities there. We're giving appointments away in January for fingerprinting. So if you call today, you'd get mid-January, late January. And again, just to remind you, we print 7 days a week, 16 people a day. In case your constituents call and say, my God, what's going on over there? Understand, we're booked solid. We have 2 machines, takes about an hour. And so they're booked 8 hours a day, 7 days a week. And we're still just losing ground.
Is the boat back in the river now, or?
Yeah, the boat's back in the river. Putnam County, I guess, did away with their boat. And we've been getting inquiries from local media over there as to whether or not we pick up slack for non-emergency calls on the Putnam coastline. I don't see, it's kind of like a mutual aid, sort of like firemen, mutual aid. But on routine stuff, like ticketing, things like that, generally not. We don't do that, but certainly all the things related to safety, whether it's a disabled boat, accidents, things like that, everyone responds, or the closest boat responds. And so whether or not there's a boat in the water from Putnam, we would pick up the slack along with the state police and Coast Guard and other people that are there.
All the boats seem to hang out in Newburgh anyway, I find. Go ahead, Sheriff.
Yeah, while we're on the boat, I think I mentioned to you in a private conversation
Yes.
that we put in for a grant for a new boat. The boat we have now is 17 or 18 years old. It's in pretty rough shape. We've replaced the motors over the years, as everybody knows. And the boat is still worth something, believe it or not. But we're working on that. We'll update you on that. But it's very possible with the state grant and with the sale of the old boat, it may wash. We may get it for darn near next to nothing. So when that comes up, I want everybody to pay real particular attention to that. It's something that needs to be replaced. 18 years. Again, it's a good hull. The Parker hull is a very good hull, but it's the Hudson River. It's hit a lot of things in the Hudson River, and our guys our men and women have done quite a bit to keep the boat in shape. They really have. So, but I just want to keep everybody updated on that. I was out on the boat a couple weekends ago, and if anybody in the legislature would like to hop on the boat for a couple hours on a weekend, let us know, and you're more than welcome to see what they do.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have any questions on the sheriff's report? Okay, seeing none, thank you very much. Motion to adjourn is in order. Legislator Lujan and Vero, thank you.
No, we're good.
We are adjourned.